6.5 years ago. Hudson was just 7. It's hard to believe he's going to be 13 next month. So he was just a little 7-year-old, just to turn 7. And he went to a playground with a family from church, sweet family. They went to this small playground, a neighborhood park, and on the underbelly of a slide, there was a bit of graffiti. Somebody gone over there with a can of paint, and they had sprayed some words. I have permission from Hudson to share this story with you, by the way. And so there was a bad word painted on the underbelly of that slide. It was the F word. It was a bad word. Well, Hudson was just learning to read. He was in first grade, and so he looked at that word, and he used his super reading skills, and he sounded it out nice and loud. And there was a little girl nearby him, and she said, "Stop! That's a very, 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 very bad word." He said, "Why?" And his anxiety goes, and worry and fear, and he runs back to the family who's watching them, and he said, "I just said," and they said, "No, stop. That's a very, 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 very bad word." And he goes, "Oh, why is it really, really bad? What is going to happen to me?" And he just filled with anxiety. And then he came home and started saying it too. And who else was filled with anxiety? Stephanie and me. What are they going to say about the pastor's kid now? So 28 days later, every day, he's going in his little cycle in his brain. You see, Hudson has some unique parts that sometimes scarf away his attention. And so his mind got in this cycle, just circling around, and he couldn't get off that very, 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 very bad word. And he had to drive him home from school, and he said, "Dad, I'm gonna say it again." It just came out. Okay. And for 28 days in a row, we couldn't figure it out. And I have like all this Bible and theological knowledge, and I didn't have an answer. And we're just praying, helping, and and he was torn up inside. He cried about it. We cried about it. So we're down in his bedroom one evening, and he said, Dad, it's coming again, it's coming out. I can't stop saying it. And I paused for a minute, and then God gave me a little thought, because I'm not smart enough to think of this on my own. I said, Hudson, do you remember what color your walls were before we painted them last year? And he said, I don't know, Dad, you ask silly questions. I don't remember. Were they purple? Like, no, they weren't purple. Were they brown? No, they weren't brown. Were they pink? No, they weren't pink. I don't even remember, Hudson. It was just a year ago I painted your walls. I don't remember what color they were. And I said, how about this? We need to put some new paint on the walls of your brain. We need to put some new paint on there. And if you keep putting new paint on the walls of your mind, eventually you'll forget about what was on there before. How about we do that? I said, Hudson, do you know Philippians 4:8? He said, I don't think so. And so I had Hudson read this, and he wrote, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good repute, if there is any excellence of anything worthy of praise, think on those things. Dwell on those things. I said, we need to put that kind of new paint all over the walls. So what could you think about? Think about how you like to draw. Think about how God's given you cool Legos. Think about your mom or your sister or your ugly dad. Think about songs at church. And you could read the word and start memorizing the word. And let's put some new paint on that. And so he did. And I could see the anxiety start to just melt away. About a week later, I hadn't heard the word. And about a week, and we're driving home from school, and he said, Dad, it's coming again. It's coming. I said, oh, Hudson, we put some new paint on that wall, didn't we? Yeah, Dad, we did. You want to put some new paint on there? Okay. And so we did. And now we don't remember. Some of you may be facing just overwhelming anxiety about something in your life right now. And you wake up in the morning, and it's the first thing you think about. You go to bed at night, it's the last thing you think about. That means it's a problem. And you need to put some new paint on those walls. What good, lovely, righteous, true things can you rehearse? Put on those walls. Think about that. Write it down for a minute. Because God can change your thinking so you're thinking about what's right and good and true. It may be a picture you looked at, maybe something you read and you can't get it out. It might be a movie you saw and you're just like, put some new paint on those walls. It's by God's grace. He's given us what is true, what is lovely, what is of good repute, what is worthy of praise to think on those things. And he changes us from the inside out, which is how the Apostle Paul teaches it in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. He said, do not be conformed to this world, fit to the mold of the world system, the other way of thinking. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed, changed, be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you might be able to test, which is to prove what is the will of God, that which is good and acceptable and perfect. You see the parallel there? It's what you're thinking about. What are you thinking about?